Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kaldewei Digital Summit 2021. We're going to have a panel discussion today titled Future Perfect, Building Successful Partnerships. I've got a world-class panel, and absolutely, I'm so honoured to have these guys here on this panel with us. So I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves. So, Tarek.
Hi guys, I'm Tarek Ghazi. I'm at the helm of Living Design, speaking to you from Stockholm. So I'll try to make it short and sweet for everyone else to carry on.
No problem. Kaldewei.
Hi, I'm Pallavi Dean. I am the founder and creative director of a boutique agency called Roar. Saying hello from sunny Dubai.
Brilliant. Federico.
Hello everyone, it's Federico Torresi here. I am VP of Design for Accor. I look after the luxury and premium brands and set out all the design strategy for our brands across the world. I'm calling from Paris.
Excellent. And Beth?
Hi, yes, good day. I'm Beth Campbell. I'm the CEO and founder of Campbell House Collective. We're a new creative interior design firm, and I'm calling in today from our headquarters of my home base of Las Vegas.
Excellent. And finally, Roberto.
Hello, everybody. Yes, it's Roberto Martinez. I'm here in Germany, and I'm in the board of Kaldewei, of the Kaldewei Group, the Chief Sales Officer, and I'm very glad to be with you today and in such a fantastic group full of experience and creativity.
Brilliant. Okay. And obviously, if you don't know me, my name is Can Faik. I'm the editorial director of Hospitality Interiors. I'm also the event director of the Hospitality Leadership and Design Conference as well. So welcome everybody. Okay, so Beth, let's kick off. Beth, as you know, it's been a difficult time for the hospitality industry over the last year. So what do you think will be the hospitality sector's biggest challenge post-COVID?
Yeah, it has been actually a very difficult time, from a corporate standpoint and a personal standpoint for all of us as we're affected by this. But also at the same time, I think that collectively, as I have started traveling again and anyone we interact with, we start to realize that, during these moments of crisis is when opportunity is found. And so, I'm seeing that inside the industry, it's an evolution of how the fine operators such as Accor are handling business from a safety and as well as a well-being, but also how their business is flowing and the priorities. And so as designers and as vendors, we have the opportunity to kind of evolve how we're setting up our business. And so to me, I think that's the biggest moment, and I'm finding it to be an inspiring opportunity for all of us to jump in and evolve how we're delivering our design. And quite honestly, the puzzle pieces, the edges of the puzzle have shifted. So it gives us opportunity to change how we approach design and how we approach delivery, and over the top service, if you will, is very important right now in these new founded times as we start to evolve out of into this post-COVID world.
So Federico, how about that for you on your side?
I think the biggest challenge we're going to have is really to do with vaccinations and governments and the legislation that goes around traveling and just foreign guests coming into our countries, right? So at the moment, the travel scene is very much national, and we're getting a lot of demand for our hotels, especially last summer we saw when we opened our hotels for the summer, they were full and they were absolutely packed. So we know that the desire is there. The business needs the international travelers, and the business is looking for those barriers to go down, whether they'll be with vaccine passports or with other systems that come in place that are recognized worldwide. And the business also needs that kind of business travel to resurrect, which we're anxiously waiting for. And I think those are the biggest struggles for us. We're ready otherwise. Our hotels have been compliant to legislations around the world since the very, very beginning. We've made enormous efforts to make sure our guests feel safe, and we're ready. So the biggest challenge is the borders reopening and people finding the confidence to travel again.
Okay, and Pallavi, obviously being on the other side of the world, how's it in Dubai, for instance?
I think Dubai is much the same. I'm going to echo what Federico said. I think the biggest challenge is going to be reviving business travel, right? Think of MICE, meeting, incentives, conferences, and events. we need to get people back in the exhibition halls, back in the 4-star hotels, and back on airplanes. So things like the leisure tourism industry, luxury travel, family and friends tourism, that's going to bounce back much quicker. And you can see that's already happened in Dubai over the last sort of 9 months. But I think that business travel sector, which is about 22% of global tourism, has really taken a hard hit. So I think that needs to bounce back, really.
Okay, and then Roberto, on the supplier side, how are you seeing it with orders and business and so on?
Well, first of all, from our side, of course, we love to work with hospitality business, and we do see how challenging these times is. From our side, Kaldewei, bathtubs, shower surfaces, and wash basins, they are all 100% natural, no plastics, just earth elements, steel and glass. And the fusion process of steel and glass into a superior steel enamel now forms the perfect alliance for a modern bathroom solution. The steel is very light in weight, but very resilient, very durable, whilst the non-porous glass surface is beautiful in both look and feel, and has this added advantage of being ultra-hygienic and very easy to clean. And being a specialist in this, we, of course, from that part of the business in the bathroom, and we can support, and we do support since more than 100 years now. We only do this single material, and around this materials bringing individual solution to hospitality and commercial residential business.
Okay, and Tarek, question for you. Your experience as working in luxury and so on, the compatibility with environmental and ecological concerns. What's your thinking on that?
Well, actually, I think this pandemic period has given us the chance to rethink a lot of methodologies on how we work and so on. Probably us being in this triangle of the world where we care so much about sustainability, zero emission, it just gave us a zero carbon emission. Try to achieve more. We try to be married more with architecture now. Remember the good old days, everybody speak about architecture and then nobody speaks about the interior. Although the building are living from the interior, not from the architecture. So we have taken this time looking very much into true sustainability, looking differently. We always have relation with suppliers, so we cannot survive without them in a lot of ways. But we started to look into authenticity of the sustainability, trying to really offer products, solutions that survive the hypes, survive the different lifestyle between bracket that we start to face with different operators, the differentiation of the lifestyle through sustainability as well. So I think it has been a very, very good period for us. We've been watching, but we've been researching. We can see how different organizations, best, for example, the AIA is doing a very active approach for looking into adaptability, excuse my English, but also we on the interior side, we also start to look at the same approach, how to bring it inside the building. And I think it's very important in a lot of ways. And that will not affect the luxury travel. Against a lot of people who think that it should affect the luxury travel. I think we're in a period where a lot of mix up is happening at the moment.
Sure.
But once we clear this up, I do believe that the luxury travel will be the first to bounce. The mice will be the last to bounce.
So, Kaldewei, as a designer, what services can you offer to your clients with little interaction at these times? Because I was told last week about a designer working on a big hotel in Canada, and everything was done via Zoom calls, which was, crazy. That's meant to be a story on its own. But how are you finding that?
Look, I think it's more about giving guests less touch points when they're in the resort. I'm just going to use a recent example. I was in the Maldives last week, and they had this amazing WhatsApp service, right? Send a buggy to my room. Can I book a spa? I was like, this is great. I actually don't have to interact with another human when I'm already feeling paranoid with my mask on. I love WhatsApp. Let's use it. So I thought that was a very clever use of technology. But, things that were already happening. And I think COVID has just accelerated those trends. Having an app to check in, check out, lock your hotel room door. So those are clever kind of tech savvy interventions that I think COVID has simply accelerated. As designers, we were always conscious of them. We were integrating those within our hospitality spaces, but I like seeing how it's fast-tracked now because of COVID.
Federico, for you as well?
Yeah, I mean, we've been looking at technology to enhance the guest experience for a very, very long time. Obviously, we've introduced a new app recently to do with Aqua Key, so we can open our hotels with personal devices. But that's just like Pallavi was saying, it's something that we've been working on way before the pandemic hit, and the acceleration, the time we had during the pandemic to actually accelerate these things has actually been quite useful in certain ways, because we've had a little break to look around, and then we embraced what was available and just basically started to roll it out. But also in terms of the opportunity to look at how technology can enhance other aspects of the guest experience, and how we're doing our check-ins has changed already, but also how we can now order our food from our restaurant or from our rooms, how we can exercise. We've started to integrate virtual trainers in some of our guest rooms for some of our brands. We've launched virtual training programs in our gyms for some of our brands, and Pullman's PowerFit is a fine example of that, where you can actually have a live personal trainer guide you through your training session anytime you want, and it's in partnership with Les Mills. We're doing a project where we're going to integrate physical, emotional, and practical experiences through technology, and it's going to become part of the whole DNA of another luxury brand that we're working to, and I can't actually tell you which brands they are. But we're looking at what's available, but we don't want to alienate our guests with pure technology. That it has to be integrated into experience, and it has to really become humanized to such a point that you're no longer scared. And even though you might have this intuition on how to use technology, because we're all used to touch screens and everything else, but you find that it's natural and it enhances that whole experience. So it's been a great opportunity for us to do that, and it helped us revise also the design strategy for some of our brands.
And Beth, the same question to you, Beth. Obviously, being in the US, how are you finding it there?
Yeah, I echo all the sentiments that were put forward about technology and integrating it to the guest experience. I think I'm going to play on the other side of the answer and talk about how we're integrating design, and I think it's something that all of us are doing. And to the previous points, we're just building on it and making it stronger. I'll give an example. It was last summer. We actually did a work session. It was a visioning session. We had 64 participants from around the globe, and it was 6 hours long. And so what you have to do, obviously, is you have to approach the agenda very differently, right? Because attention spans, most of us in the design world have the attention span of a 4-year-old to begin with, right? And then you add in the fact that you have the distractions of being able to get up and move around and step away. It was extremely successful. We did have one gentleman that decided to go for a hike, and he left his camera on. And so we were watching the woods as he was hiking. But other than that, it was an extremely successful endeavor. And what we were able to do, again, it was just basically how you frame the conversation with the appropriate breaks in between, not just the bio breaks, but the fact is your brain has to shift and do something different. And so it's just like taking a lecture in university, right? We did some presentations, but most of it was interactive and, drawing on people, and different groups were in charge of different segments. So I think we've gotten pretty savvy as a collective, our industry, on how we communicate. But let's be honest, we're all collaborative. We all want to sit in the same room and sketch and throw materials around and, and play literally in the sandbox together. So we're all longing to get back to that, but we've gotten pretty efficient at it here in the recent past.
Okay. Tarek, would you like to add anything to that?
No, I think Beth have really concluded it. It seems that I'm coming from a different generation when you guys are all talking about the advanced technology associated. But I think we got a drawback, and our drawback was that we were left interchanging human being to human being in that pandemic. So we were really left. I think our government decided not to take away the human side of everything. We have technology. I think Scandinavia in general is very famous of being very technologically advanced in a very discreet way. So as myself, I haven't weighted so much on the technology on that side, but rather stayed with the human senses. Somehow I do believe that we are in an intermediate time, and it's gonna disappear. We are all eager to say hi, to hug our family, our friends, to go out. You can't take the human side from us. You can't. You can bring as much technology as you want. At the end of the day, you are going to a hotel. You need to see someone serving you. That's how the human being has built a trust and has, if you don't touch, if you don't smell, you lose the sense.
That's fair. Yeah.
So it's temporary for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it's all going to disappear though. I think we're just going to get used to it a little bit, like we got used to the security barriers outside hotels, and they eventually got covered up with in planting pots and trees, and you don't see them anymore, but they're still there. I think what we're doing with the design of our hotels and the strategy behind those is looking how to integrate those into kind of the everyday. So there's various measures like washing your hands and throwing away your mask or whatever it is you need to do now that's enforced. It's going to become more natural. Some of it will go away, some of it will stay because we evolve and we embrace whatever we've come up with. So we're looking at designing it in, right? So we're designing it into the path of our guests. We're putting it into the experience. We're not making it a thing that stands out, but actually if it can be inclusive, it can be enhancing as well the experience. We're looking at that. And we're doing that across all the areas of all our brands. And, we've got a new way of inhabiting a lobby for Mövenpick. That's called my Mövenpick Marketplace. And because it is a marketplace, you're going to eat and you're going to hang out and you're going to do work and you're going to go to events and you're going to do classes or whatever you need to do. You're going to have to wash your hands. And so how do you do that without it sticking out? So it's part of the journey. We're doing the same thing in breakouts for a Swiss hotel brand where, meeting breakouts. Like Beth was saying, your brain needs to just think of something else and you need to take your shoes off. Your brain needs to take its shoes off. So we're creating areas that you can do that in our hotels, and sometimes we embrace the outdoors, sometimes we bring the outdoors in, sometimes we mimic the outdoors inside. And we have so many things that we're doing with our brands too. We don't want to throw away what we had. We don't want to alienate, I guess, with new technologies. We want to evolve ever so slightly. And I think even if you're looking at future stuff, you don't want to create a futuristic environment that nobody's going to relate to or understand. It has to gradually grow like we do as people. So it's really about embracing what we've had to learn and making the most of it and not forgetting it, but it's kind of putting it on that path.
Okay, it's a good answer from you guys. Bloody hell, wow. Okay, Beth, question for you. Obviously, Campbell House, you just launched it. If anybody doesn't know you, but I'm sure they do know you, obviously ex-CEO for Wilson Associates, which everyone heard the news a while ago. So Campbell House, what is the plan? Tell us about it. Tell everyone.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It was super excited about the opportunity in front of us. It's just one of those moments. If you would have asked me a year ago if I would have launched a new company, I would have said no. But as I was, knew that I would be exiting Wilson due to just a difference in viewpoints of where the brand needed to go, which is now quite obvious to the rest of the public why I made my decision last summer. But the fact is that as I was looking at it, I started to interview and I realized to have the real impact and influence and be able to have the team set up in such a way, I couldn't go to another big house or somebody with a large board. And so it became very apparent. And so we put the brand together rather quickly. I exited Wilson in October, and our intention was to be, I would never say demure because that's never an adjective used with me, but it was, we were going to be much more delicate in our approach to how we put the organization together. And our goal was to be roughly around, 30 to 40 people between US and an office in Paris. And we would be, that would be by the end of the year, and we would slow roll it. Well, as fate would have it, obviously, as things started to unravel at Wilson at a very rapid pace, the clients started calling. So at this juncture, we are targeting to be around 60 people by July. So we have a lot in the pipeline. As far as, I know it's crazy. And I have, my CFO and my attorney pulling the reins in, and then I have the designers and all of us out with the clients saying we need to go faster. So we're trying to be really measured in how we approach everything, because we don't want to grow too big too fast. We don't want to be that Silicon Valley kind of mistake, right? So we're being very measured, but we're excited about it. And we're having our US, we opened New York team, if you will. We don't physically have offices because everybody's remote at this juncture. We have LA, New York, and Vegas. And obviously Dallas is going to be starting here in the next week or so. Paris will be in April. And one of them is we're talking about is there's so much work in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and Dubai. We're now talking about opening a Dubai entity. Still not solidified, but maybe we could have a conversation, Palladio, about that. But the fact is that there's just so much activity. And so we're still trying to be very nimble in our business plan, right? We want to have small teams that can focus purely based on client base, focused on the clients, not a lot of corporate overhead, not a lot of, no debt. We're completely solvent. It's my cash flow. So we have that control and we don't have to answer to anybody. And so that was the intention, so that it would allow us to create an environment that let the designers do what they want to do. And that's get up and design every morning. So we're very excited.
London office? I know you didn't mention London. Is London possible? You're just not sure.
Listen, if you asked me, I'd move to London tomorrow. So actually, we do have players in London that we would like to engage. We're waiting a little bit for Brexit and UK. So we're focusing on Paris, obviously, because that's some low hanging fruit with the talent that's there that's already affiliated with in my purview and my close trusted allies. And so, yes, I could see us in London, but not this year. Not today.
Excellent. Okay.
I have a question for you, Beth.
I'm sorry,
if I may. Actually, I think the community here, everyone knows that you are at the helm of Wilson Associate, and we knew what's going on gradually. So is your team all ex Wilson? Because simply they are all like the ex-colleagues, so they're just joining hands together?
Excellent question. There is a good portion of the players that are from Wilson, but there's also players from other pieces of my past, right? So we announced this week Daryl Long joining us, and so he has not just Wilson, he has HBA. Right. I come from Wilson and Gensler, and so we have a few other players that are coming on board here very soon. One I can actually say now is Hesse is going to be in our London office. He'll be coming on board. The point is that we all have people that in our circle that we trust and we know have the same attitude, this growth mindset, rolling up your sleeves, just getting in and doing the work. And so that's how we're building the team. So no, it is not we are not a spinoff of Wilson.
Okay. Do you, another question. I'm sorry, Can.
It's okay. Just take over. Just take over. It's fine.
Well, being or coming from a very powerful house, and you know that there is another powerful house on the stake at the moment. Do you think, is it the age that the very large corporate in design breaks down into small, more human, more less overhead, of course? And I'm talking like HBA, they're like, because HBA has been bought at the same time as Wilson. So there was a very comparative case. Owners have the same sort of mindset. I'm not going to talk more in public, but I mean, you don't feel, do you feel it's we should be more of the people who like to work together form a group and get on with it and be enough, control the cost and be good at what they do?
You know what, that's an excellent question. I can tell you what I am sensing, and actually what we're living in, it is that anti-bureaucratic sentiment, right? People, as designers, we don't like to be confined, and we don't design to a spreadsheet. It's not like you're going to design from 11:15 to 12:05 today because that's what the fee plan and matrix says you're going to do. You want to be able to just do and be and take care of your clients and have that freedom. And so some of these larger organizations have that. I can tell you with Wilson, it wasn't about that. And I don't know inside of the leadership at HBA. I do have purview into Gensler because I had so much time there. It's such a great experience. I can see these larger firms understanding this and evolving how they operate. I'm not saying they're going to get into silos or smaller pieces, but I can see them being reactionary and making sure that they're taking care of their talent in this way and trying to build in freedom. It's not going to be easy to do. But and I can tell you that the unfortunate and disheartening demise of Wilson had nothing to do with that. It was purely a cultural business approach, Western versus Eastern culture. And so there was just a disconnect in that. And so that's not, you know what I mean? So there's two different things. And I think HBA's dealing with both, right? But here again, they're an amazing organization and I can see them, figuring out how to make it work.
But if I can add something, I do think our clients are getting smarter and more educated, and they know who they want to work with, and they no longer need the hand-holding of a really huge corporation, because as they grow as clients, they understand the business better and they understand what they want better and how to get it. So by putting together essentially a very good team that's not necessarily backed by a big house, but has got experience and has got a really good track record of delivering great design, I think that actually gives them more excitement as well, because the clients get more involved, the design teams can express themselves better. I used to be on the same side as Beth and Tarek and Pallavi, and I understand the frustrations of working for larger corporations, but I can also see the benefit now working for large corporations or going to a smaller group of designers, because they can be more innovative, they can use their imagination, they're not shackled as much. So I think this is also the slight shift, the anti-corporate is more, I think, to do, we're really rebellious, but it's really a lot to do with the fact that we know there's some talent out there, and once we can see that they start improving themselves, we can just give them the trust, and nothing bad's got to really happen. You might have to rework a project once, twice, but I think that's also that shift is happening, and I'm seeing it every day with the agencies we work with in terms of the strategic design stuff we do, but also on projects. We're seeing a lot younger agencies getting bigger and bigger projects and doing a great
Federico,
job. So,
I just want to jump in here because Beth, first of all, Mabruk on flying solo. Welcome to the Wild Wild West. Brace yourself, it's going to be a wicked ride. But Federico, what I find, I've built Roar over the last 8 years, right? Every time I've gone into Accor or Hyatt, over the past 5 years, show us a hotel you've built. I'm like, I haven't. You got to give me my first break so I can finish a hotel. And now finally, 8 years later, I've got my first Accor under the belt, I've got a Paramount under my belt. But you have to appreciate that owners and operators do look at boutique firms differently. We've lost out to projects to HBA and Wilson, which I'm hoping will come back to us now, unless Beth sets up shop in Dubai, which come, it'll be fun. But my point is that, there is a level of confidence and comfort going with a known brand than like an unknown underdog challenger. But you're right, the perspective is really changing. And as Beth has touched upon, we don't stop because the commercial says, that's it, you have 5 hours to do a concept. No, I want to spend 5 months sometimes doing it. And design is an iterative process. You keep coming back to it and you keep editing and adding. And I think giving creatives the freedom to do that is amazing. I've never understood how big organizations have 9 to 6. I'm a lark. My colleagues are owls. There's 2 different personalities here. I wake up at 4 a.m. They don't function before 12 noon. So I think we have to change the way we work as well, so it's conducive to everybody, really.
Yeah,
okay.
And the pandemic has given us that, right? With the 12 months that we've spent working from home, we've seen actually productivity has risen, and we're all happier to a certain extent with our workload and how we manage our private lives. We're just missing travel and is doing this in real life. But otherwise, yeah, I think it's the great change.
Well, Federico, I never work from home, buddy. I just go home to sleep. I'm still in the office until late night.
Well, you should try it, Tarek. It's good. It's good.
Will do my best, but I still like go home to watch a movie, have a good meal.
So moving. Listen, Kaldewei viewers, I think you're going to love. I mean, the way this conversation is going already, it's going off track, and it's absolutely brilliant. The stuff that I'm hearing already. I think this will be in my next magazine when it comes out. Roberto, question for you. With the need and request by the clients for a more biophilic design, how are you coping with your product offering?
Well, as I mentioned before, we only do with natural product. It's no plastic, just steel and glass. So starting from there and the wide portfolio of more than 600 shower pans, wash basins, and bathtubs, which can be customized towards thousands of perfectly coordinated solutions and systems. That's one thing, and a very important thing. I've heard it quite often now in this conversation. It's about confidence, it's about trust, it's about people. And what we do is we support our partners through neutral clarification, especially in terms of new local norms, material compositions, and their performances. There is so much good noise, good marketing, and a lot of noise around, but not always sufficient transparency in this very dynamic world when it comes to ingredients or really long-term tests in what we do, bathrooms, in real bathrooms environments. What is the performance of a new material coming up around the corner? So knowing that our partners love to work with honest materials, here is an example. Who does really know what's inside of a composite stone or cast marble, etc., etc.? What is it concretely made of? When does it deserve to be called stone, quartz, marble? And how often is it just a new kind of acrylic made of glued dust with plastic, or a composite with traces of stone? And for us, sustainability and health, they are not a trend. It's responsible and necessary.
Can you probably don't know that, but we've been hassling Roberto's team for the last
Here we go.
I think 3 weeks. We have a very special property in his backyard, actually in Berlin, where honestly Kaldewei has proven itself to be worth the name and the effort. So we have custom built, or we're reaching, I think, around 35 different types of shower tray in one project.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
You could have more on the client.
Yeah, there you go. Could have sold you
it's
more.
Sufficient if we get it in this amount of sizes, etc. But it's all about really finding solutions in the individual way, and each building is different, whether new build or conversion, and that makes it also, yeah, you need, it's people business, and you need full transparency. You need to be quick, but always on the safe side. And thank you for the trust and for the pushing, because only like this we get better and better.
Perfect. Great. Pallavi, question for you. With social media, especially Instagram, becoming an increasingly important marketing tool for hotels, what are your thoughts on this? And do you take this into account when designing spaces?
Look, yes and no. No, because when you think of the lifespan of a design, like it's 10, 15, 20 years, right? In Dubai, I'm talking about. And you can't design for social media gimmick, because what's in vogue or in fashion today is going to be so last season in 2 months' time, right? So I do feel there's a little backlash against this Instagram culture. It's kind of like fast fashion, you know? Can we just focus on context and authenticity and craftsmanship, the slow process, rather than going for the quick hit? And I say yes, because it is my job as a designer to create a buzz, a vibe, and to kind of tap into the zeitgeist of the moment. And sometimes Instagram is really friendly for that. So, I battle with this just internally with myself. So I think timeless design will always win, but I am guilty of putting a few Instagram moments in our projects.
Okay. Federico, I saw you nodding your head. Obviously, on the brand side, you do want that Instagram moment. You must do. You want your hotel pictured absolutely everywhere.
Of course. I mean, there's a good design, and then there's design that's immersive, right? I think what we're doing with the way we're going forward is the Instagram moment is kind of become a thing of the past, and it's really more about the experience moment and how you enjoy a place. And we're trying to design that into our brands, and each brand offers different experiences. So I think once you're in that place, having fun or enjoying whatever it is you're doing, or having a great workout or a great meeting, you'll probably find that you want to talk about it. And maybe Instagram is going to change quite quickly, because what we've noticed, of course, is most of it is all set up, and people are looking for more and more real experiences, especially since they've been sitting at home for 12 months. But I think the Instagram moment is going to change, and it's going to be more something that's evocative, that people just tell you, just trust me, go and see this place, and you'll experience it for yourself. So this is how our design philosophy is changing, and we have new brands. Well, we've revamped how some of our brands are expressing this. In Swissôtel, we have vitality throughout the guest journey, where we do bring the outside in, and biophilia is just embracing the outdoors and bringing them in, and biomimicry as well, where we can try and have the sunrise and the sunset in your guest room. Those kind of things, and throughout the guest journey, it means that we're touching the food, we're touching the experience at check-in, we're touching the pool, we're touching the shared work areas. We've got long tables in our gardens, so you can do drop-in work, that kind of stuff. We're trying to make sure that the Instagrammable moment becomes something you take away with you and you're not showing off about, right? And I think that builds the loyalty, builds a little fan base. We have a lot of brands we call love brands. Our guests love to stay with that brand because of how they feel, not what it looks like. I mean, M Gallery they're all different, right? It's a collection of amazing, really amazing hotels, some of which are amazing restaurants, some of which are amazing spas, all of which have a really good story behind them. And I think that's the way it's going to move. I used to think the Instagrammable moment was the key about maybe 5-6 years ago. But since I've been running design strategy for our luxury and premium brands, coming up to 2 years now, we've had to change that, because otherwise it just becomes that one thing about the hotel, and you're not going to get a repeat guest base, because everybody's just going to go and take a picture and then go away. So you really want to make sure that the design and the philosophy of service behind that, that's not just what something looks like, but how the operations team can work with it, how they can make it theirs, how they can put some of their spirit inside what they're doing. We got some of our other brands that have got immersive experiences. Orient Express is going to open in Rome in a couple of years' time. That is all based around what we call a great transformation. And we have people that work in the hotel that also enact another character after a certain time, and just take you along that route with them to really make sure that you understand where you are, why you're there, what you're doing. So you take that away with you, not just the photograph. Of course, our hotels are beautiful. We spend a lot of time in creating design guidelines and standards and getting to work with great designers. So that's always by far.
Okay. Well, take a second there, because I'm going to come back to you in a question in a minute about this new Raffles design concept. I mean, Tarek, for you, do you find sometimes the owner will say they want that Instagram moment? Maybe not so much the brand, but on the owner's side, or Beth as well. Same for you as well in the US. That's a no from Tarek. You're
talking to the wrong guy. I
Yeah.
don't believe in Instagram.
Okay.
I don't run the Instagram of the company. It's some of my colleagues. I believe those are just, and I think Beth will probably confirm my feelings. It's just things that comes and goes. You just perfectly asked the wrong guy. I think it's all about experience.
Okay.
And if you can make it in real life, I still want to have a sunset with a glass of wine outside and some olive and just enjoy the view. And if I chin with my daughter over the camera, it makes no sense. Although there is the wave of the very young generation, and I think still everyone experiencing it. I try to call her, she never answer, but she write for me.
Okay, and
So
Beth,
it's
Yeah.
people are different.
okay, and Beth, how about you in the US?
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what Palladia said and what Federico said. We have, we as interior designers have this wonderful opportunity to create the backdrop, right? We are building these experiences. We're creating and working with the Accors of the world to curate experiences, and it's about the guest journey. And so we have this wonderful obligation and opportunity as designers to create the interior that then brings that memory, because as we're curating memories, it's everything from service to the food to and so then I think that's, to your point, is the Instagrammable moments are going to be shifting. And so it's not just this really cool corner with a sculpture and amazing wall covering. It's actually the whole experience. And so I think that's where the Instagram and the social media is evolving, because you are going to get this acceleration of everybody wanting to get back out and connect again. And so I think it's going to accelerate, but it's going to be very different focus.
Okay. Federico, let's talk to you about this. So I'm hearing a lot of news about the Raffles design concept. Can you explain? I'm not putting you on the spot or anything. But
no, that's fine. So about a year and a half ago, we decided that Raffles, as our most luxurious brand, and with some links to the East, could do with a layer of emotional well-being for our guests. And the brand came up with emotional well-being as a concept, as an overall concept that embraces the brand. And emotional well-being has some pillars, and some of those have to do with the food. Some of those have to do with design. And the design pillar is called Design for Harmony. And it fell to me and my team to look at ways to design spaces that inherently made our guests feel better and comfortable emotionally. And so we worked with some experts of feng shui. And we designed a system that's there's an overall system which we call Second Nature, which is based on traditional and non-traditional feng shui and experiences, and that kind of gives an overall guidance on how to design spaces, so how to lay out a hotel, but also just the initial guidelines on the Second Nature aspects of the rooms and the hotel in general. And then each property then gets its own treatment from a Second Nature expert to make sure that it's really localized. And that has given us a really nice way of talking through the design of a Raffles and having little things in it that people can carry away with them. They immediately feel comfortable when they enter a room, because we've put things in different places as they should be. We're using some of the basic feng shui rules so that immediately you don't have your energy. So it's about energy flow as well. So you have to understand it's kind of an extra layer that we put on the design. So it's about energy flow. It's about bringing natural light in, opening the doors to the outside. Our rooms are very generous in the Raffles as well, which enables us to have, for example, spa experiences in our bathrooms, in each bathroom, for example. And then we're working with this overall concept of Design for Harmony into various areas of the hotel. So of course the spa and the Raffles Spa is taking all of that and building it into its treatment program. But also our MICE program has changed. So given we started this before the pandemic as well, which is quite interesting, given that when nobody does MICE anymore, we'll struggle to get it up and going again. We have a program called Celebrations and Ceremonies, which is really based around life stories of our guests. And given that the properties are so iconic, we figured that people will still want to go and have special events there. But then the breakout areas around are actually areas that are designed to have their own identity, so you can use them as well as the big spaces. So when there's a big event going on, you can go and record some music, or you can have a workshop to sew leather, or whatever it is you need to do, depending on the property. And then they can be joined up and create these event spaces which have got a meaning, because there's always a reference to what's happening before. So we have Celebrations and Ceremonies, which also looks at having things outdoors where you can. Raffles got beautiful properties where it's mostly sunny all the time. And so it's just adding an extra layer. And we don't think another luxury brand is doing that with its design. Of course, the service aspect of things has always had wellness or well-being built into it. But we think that the way we're designing this, the way we've designed the guidelines, will change the way that guests would want to go to a Raffles, because they will know they're going to feel good. They're going to have amazing, impeccable service. They're going to be in amazing locations. They're going to have a lot of space, a lot of facilities around them, but they're just going to feel good, and they're not going to know why. And this is the best thing about it, right? So this is what I'm banking on, that is going to be the thing that's going to change the way Raffles guests are coming to it, you know, because that guest profile is changing as well. You know, we have those people that used to go to a Raffles who are coming to a certain age, they may not travel anymore, but their children and their families, they're going to want to go back, but they need something new. So it has to be experiential. It has to be something that stays in your emotions.
Okay. Tarek, question for you. How can designers overcome perceptions that sustainability is a trade-off?
The issue, I think, I don't want to be stamped by the sustainability guy because I'm just like sitting in Stockholm, but honestly, I do believe that all of us share the guilt of not starting early enough looking deeply into sustainability. Sustainability, it's actually we left it over for suppliers to research it. We left it over for architects to talk about it, and we have done very little through our process because obviously it has a cost effect. We left it to operators to demonstrate that there are certain savings to the planet. The reality, as Tullenberg, as our little girl, the Swedish little girl who went to the UN, the reality is that it's not. The reality is that we really, all of us, are equally responsible to in one way or another, even through our design, even through our execution, to carry and watch out about sustainability. So it's I do believe that this sustainability will not gonna be traded off very, very soon. I do believe that sustainability will be a pillar in our take on design. You know, if you leave the COVID area behind, it's probably we're gonna end up with more cautious people about planet, more cautious people about use of material, about how the room will look alike. Even investors, they will probably, after this period of time, they will look into extending the life from soft renovation for example, the soft renovation from 7 to 10 to maybe 12 for a better return on investment. The life for a full renovation from 10 to 15. So we're going into the very high luxury category. And for that, you need to find really sustainable material to carry you through.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think, look, listen, we have a really strong BS radar for greenwashing and for token gestures. So we kind of have to stop lying to ourselves. Sometimes sustainability is a trade-off. Getting LEED Gold, LEED Platinum is super expensive. We looked at installing some solar panels on a hotel project that we just finished. It's 8 years till I see any return on investment on that money, right? So that's an expensive upfront investment. But I think what owners and operators need to start doing is get your calculators out, right? Think of the lifespan cost. Yes, durable materials are expensive. The antimicrobial surfaces come at a premium cost of 20%, but it's worth the investment, you know, in the long run. And I think thirdly, we kind of have to make a virtue of sustainability, right? Whether it's social sustainability. Sustainability is not just a point scoring system. We use a lot of local joinery, a lot of local Emirati artisans within our work, right? Social sustainability, creating jobs in the economy that you're working in, is a huge aspect of design as well. And another thing, like, you know, I'm going to use Saudi as an example. The whole Red Sea luxury project development, their DNA and their USP is sustainability. You look at Al Ula, right? Their whole USP is the fact that we're preserving the context. We're kind of respecting the architectural monuments, etc., right? So I think there are different ways to address sustainability, but I really think we need to stop lying to ourselves. We've all been guilty of doing exactly this.
Sure. Roberto, what's your opinion, obviously, on sustainability with Kaldewei?
Well, first of all, I agree also what Tarek was saying, and I would like to add something to Pallavi. Sustainable products not necessarily have to be expensive. When I talk about what we are doing, I agree. For example, I think that the human have become more dangerous to nature than nature was ever to us. And that the climate change is the defining theme of the 21st century. It's clear to all of us, and all of us must take responsibility for our actions and for our inactions. And that's when it is, I think, the challenging also for architects and designers especially, or also for construction building companies. There are thousands of different materials. How can you have the transparency on what is what and what is really sustainable, and what do we understand from sustainability, and what do others understand, or how do they define sustainability? It's easier for Kaldewei if you have been doing 100 years only one thing, steel enamel, everything in one place in a city called Ahlen in Germany. Not starting looking left and right to save money in production, maybe because doing that in Asia is cheaper or whatever. So, but on the other hand, it's this focusing is what really has driven us to make for a long time a sustainable product. Of course, we start making marketing, or we have started marketing this as well, but objectively speaking, when it comes to sustainability, we are sure we are doing very well, because we do operate energy management systems according to DIN ISO 5001. 10 years ago, we were the first German sanitary manufacturer using already the so-called EPDs, environmental product declarations. What is that? It's just to give transparently a communication, what is the environmental performance or the impact of this product over its lifetime, And architects, engineers, and designers are able to choose the most sustainable option for their project, which also is always a completely different demand from your clients, from all of our clients. But there is the comparison. The only thing is that not many materials or manufacturers they do avoid an objective comparison and simply claim something, which I say is marketing. And for us, recently, another confirmation we got was now that we are currently the only sanitary manufacturer in the world with a leader rating within the Marriott Sustainability Assessment Program. And all this is just on our way to Mission Zero. We have committed to the so-called Science-Based Targets Initiative, which again, it's scientifically based targets to offer a clearly defined way of reducing emissions in line with the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement. All things we don't do for marketing, just because of responsibility and the thinking in generations, because we are a family company in the 4th generation, and the biggest target and objective is to hand over this value to the next generation, minimum what it is today or even better.
Okay, Federico, did you want to jump in?
Well, yeah, I think I just want to kind of add to what Roberto was saying. It is about metrics and how we can gauge what we're doing. Measuring systems, and how do we agree on stuff. But I think we need to learn from what's around and then give guidelines. And as we're doing there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes at our core, stuff that I'm involved with, where we have a carbon committee, we have a zero plastics committee, we have the whole life cycle of buildings committee, and kind of sitting around all of them. And the research has been, what are the metrics we are going to use that are internationally renowned? And then when we publish those, and when we say, look, if you want to work with us, you need to really meet these targets, that's going to be a big step, because we're going to be quite clear about what we need. Like government and legislation, we have to obey to legislation because it's the way society is working. In France, for example, from this year, we can't have plastic bottles in our hotels anymore. That's forbidden, right? So we're adapting, but we're taking this into our own hands, and we are going to create a set of standards that are to do with the carbon footprint, the energy consumption, the environmental impact, which is also social. So don't use slave labor. I mean, to be quite blunt. And we're going to have a way of testing this, and we're working with lots of international corporations and companies that do have their own measuring systems that are recognized, and we're going to start refining that to make it very simple. So if you want to work with a particular brand, first of all, if you want to work with Accor, you have to be at a certain level. And if you want to work with a particular brand, you have to meet that particular brand standard. The ultimate aim, of course, is to stick to the Paris Agreement. We've also signed to that, and making sure that these things these guidelines become necessities, and they have to be applied to all our projects. It's going to take time, because going back to Pallavi's comment is it does cost a little bit extra. For now, another exercise I'm running quietly is to see if I can build a hotel by meeting all the metrics we're setting up and not make it cost any extra. And there are ways. It just takes time. Right? Of course, time is money. But at some point, we will be able to produce information that says, here's how you do it, so that we're helping this thing go forward. But it will take us time. But this is where the measurement is important.
Okay. Got about 7 minutes left, guys. So I'll get through some more questions quickly. So, okay. This is to all of you. So, Tarek, we'll start with you. Is there anything exciting that you're working on which you can tell us about?
Yeah,
one project.
Exciting.
I know you've got loads, but one project.
Well, actually, we're doing one project. I don't know. We have few on the drawing board. Very busy.
Good.
We have the Marriott and the Marriott residence in Batumi in Georgia, whereby we need to adapt to a local flavor that is very much different. We have the Swiss Marriott in Geneva, and then we have the Nordic hospitality project now with Marriott as a group, but in a different brand in Helsinki. So we're actually and the one that I was just teasing Roberto with his team in Berlin. So in a lot of sense, we are pretty busy. Sometimes we even work on the weekend.
Right.
Sounds absolutely crazy, but
okay. And Pallavi, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to pick two quick projects. One is this super cool wellness resort in Kerala, but it's affordable wellness, so it's not going to be OTT. And then we're doing about 25 restaurants for Expo 2021, which I hope you all can come and visit us for. So super excited about those two projects.
Excellent. And Beth?
Yeah, absolutely. We're 4 weeks old here, so we have a handful of restaurants. We have actually literally just printed out and signed, had a calls earlier this morning. 3 restaurants for Hakkasan. We have a very large, very high fine dining restaurant called True Luxe in Dallas. It's a 2-story, 12,000 square foot restaurant. I was in upstate Washington this week for 2 restaurants at an Indian gaming integrated resort. But what I'm really happy to report, in our 4 weeks, we have just over 16 million in the pipeline of RFPs that are the majority are big hotels or renovations, rebranding. So there's a lot of positivity coming. So
excellent. Federico, obviously you've got a lot coming up. I mean, every week I'm hearing about another new property for Accor. Give us a couple. Which are you really looking forward to that you're working on at the moment? Take your mute off.
One of my babies is the Swiss Hotel in Bern,
Nice.
which is going to be the first hotel that's going to incorporate vitality throughout. It's also the first hotel to be designed by an all-ladies team, managed by an all-ladies team. The brand is also managed by an all-ladies team. So it's really going to be something special. We spent a lot of time behind that property. It should have opened already because of COVID, but it should be opening in April. We shot a very nice 5-minute film in and around the location with the designer, Nina Meyer. We talk about why we do what we do and how we do it in terms of vitality and of a software approach to design. So that's a really cool project that it's going to be live and you can touch it and you can visit it, which is great because usually a lot of stuff is on the boards or in guidelines. I think with the raffles we're going to be doing a lot of nice pilots with the Design for Harmony that are coming up around the world. We're going to have some good pilots. We're working on some collaborations with a really cool technology partner that's going to really enhance the experience in a raffle. That's really all to come. Yeah, and then obviously we're going to be working on Rome Orient Express. That's another one of my baby brands.
Sure, and I'm sure tomorrow we'll receive another press release about another new property being signed.
It's not me that has a press release.
And Roberto, how about for you to finish up? Anything that any projects which stand out for you that you've got coming up?
Well, product-wise, we have a number of innovations which are presented on all the other ISH channels. Not only products, also a very cool digital planning tool, new basins, freestanding, colored bathtubs, and an exclusive or extensive range of natural colors, earth tone finishes, either gloss or matte. And further to this, we are working on many exciting projects around the world. For example, a conversion of the iconic former Pirelli building in New Haven, designed in the late 60s by the modernist architect Marcel Breuer, into a first zero hotel in the USA. It will become a LEED Platinum certificated boutique hotel, a tapestry collection by Hilton. And we are really excited that we could be contributing it with our customized super cool extra large shower surfaces. Then there are also very nice raffles, the Old War Office in London, Cheval Blanc residences in Saint-Tropez, a Pullman in Jerusalem, in Roquefort.
You're busy.
Yeah, and the Katara Lusail Towers, the raffles. This is amazing design-wise, and the one and only in Malaysia. So we are.
You're busy.
Very proud and happy that we can do so many things all around the world with our partners. It's really amazing to work with creative, responsible partners on such unique projects.
Great. Listen, guys, exactly 1 hour. Thank you so much. That is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Thank you very much, all of you. Beth, thanks for obviously getting up so early in the morning as well for us in Las Vegas and so on. And Pallavi again staying up as well for us in the evening for you. Thank you very much. That's all I can say. Great panel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
I wish all of you a good and exciting time now, and I'm looking forward that we all will meet in person soon again, traveling and doing something good for our clients and hospitality business, which will be good for all of us at the end of the day.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. Stay safe. Take care.